Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. This is a leg training video. We finally got around to it. I've done one on shoulders, arms, chest, back. I'm going to do legs now, and then I'm going to do abs, and then I'm going to do one on stretching for you. Now, legs has always been my thing. It's an awesome way of training. A lot of people don't do legs because it's too tough, it's too hard, they don't like it. If it's tough and it's hard, it's probably working. That's what a general rule with exercise. Now, what I want to do is start off with the type of routine that I go through with regards to warm up before I actually get to the exercises. It may seem simple to some people, it may seem not enough for others. I've done this now for over 25 years. And I've never had an injury squatting, ever. I've had injuries outside the gym that have hindered my squatting, but I've never actually injured myself squatting. So I follow this protocol religiously before I train. Now, I want to go through this with you first before I show you any exercises. What I always do is, first of all, I'll wear a pair of Converse high-sided shoes, flat, very flat base on them. They've got plenty of ankle support and a flat base for squatting. That's what you need. Once you get into squatting and you're squatting quite heavy, heavy being relevant to your size and strength, then you need good support around your feet. Secondly, I always wear a pair of compression what you might call tights underneath my joggers. They are very, very tight, compressed into the body, into the groin, around the backside. They hold everything in really tight. Now you won't see them because I don't show them. They are there because they need to be there to hold everything in tight. Now also, I will wear a belt on the heavy sets, but I don't normally wear a belt on initial sets. I pyramid everything up, I always have, and again that's always stood me in good stead. I don't go straight into heavy squats. I'll do 2 or 3 sets before I get to my heaviest, and my heaviest will be my last set. So always stood me in good stead. The other thing I'll always do, I'll warm up on a treadmill or a bike for something like 5-6 minutes. Then I will go and do 3 sets of very, very light leg extensions for about 12 reps each, which gets the joints moving, gets the blood flow into the area. And then I will use the squat bar empty, which is a 20 kilo bar, and I'll do 2 or 3 sets of 10 reps of squats with no weight on the bar, again, to get your psychological mind into the movement, and also to stretch everything out, get the blood flowing, get your synovial fluid in your joints, and get everything working properly. I'll do that religiously every leg session before I even put any weight on the bar of any exercise. That's my initial introduction into my leg session. The next thing I'm going to show you is how I would squat with a bar. I'm going to show you several ways of squatting. The initial one now will be how I use the bar and how I squat, and I will go on to show you some landmine movements that you can do at home or in a gym if you don't want to go to the squat rack, or if the squat rack's busy. I'll show you a front squat machine that I've got here that's very beneficial for another way of squatting, and then I'll show you a couple of what they call auxiliary exercises that you can add in. But squat should always be the basis of your routine, your leg routine, because you will not build size in your quads without squats, I'll guarantee it. This doesn't apply to people who are taking performance enhancing drugs. They would build size in the legs by looking at weights, basically. But if you're just an average Joe who wants to get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, you will need to squat, and you must do it correctly. I'll go through the correct protocol with you. That's the introduction. Now I'm going to move on to the actual protocol of squatting. So now everyone, we come to the squatting protocol. Okay, we've done the warm-up routine, we've dressed properly, we've got the compression leggings, we've got the Converse boots, flat, high-sided, give yourself some support. Squat rack, I have it roughly about top of your chest, because you need to be able to lift it off, and also when you get up to the point of using relatively heavy weights, you don't want this to be too high that you can't lift it back on. So, first things first, never rest the bar across the back of the spine. It goes across the back of the shoulders and just below the neck where the trapezius muscles are. So what we're going to do, just with the bar, because when I first started squatting I used a wooden brush, a wooden yard brush, the handle to, and I used that until I got my technique right. So you should just use a bar, or if you're a complete beginner, use a wooden brush stale off a yard brush and use that till you get your technique down. We're going to grab the bar. If it's a nail bar like that, you'll see a little smooth piece there. I grab it roughly around there. Okay, so it's just beyond shoulder width. Then you're going to get under the bar and you're going to centre it roughly, as I say, below your neck and it resting across your trapezius muscles. Then you'll lift it off the bar, take a step back, and you're going to stand roughly about shoulder width apart. Now what I normally do, very, very gently, pull this bar towards your neck. Only very gently to stop it rolling down the back. Don't pull it hard because you'll damage the back of your spine. So very gently hold it in place. Now what we're going to do, your spine should always stay in line. So you're going to look slightly up and picture something in front of you and keep that focus on it. Now when you go down, you always lower very slowly under control. So we're going to go down like so. We're going to go down till your legs are parallel to the floor, and then we're going to explode up. So it's parallel to the floor, slowly explode. And then we go down slowly, explode. Now that's the general way to do it. A couple of pointers. When you go down to parallel, you'll see some people go past parallel and almost what they call ass to the grass. In my opinion, you don't need to go that deep down. If you're going to compete in powerlifting or something, you would need to just break 90 degrees. So your quads and backside should just be below parallel. But for the purpose of getting stronger and more muscle building, parallel's always been enough for me, or a fraction below parallel. Now, when you go down, you're going as if you're sitting on a chair, like so. Your knees should never go past your toes. If your knees are going past your toes like so, you're off balance and you're going to get in trouble. So when you go down, you sit back and down, like so. So when you've got the bar, from there, centre the bar, take a step back, shoulder width stance roughly, and you go down and back as if you're sitting on a chair, and you go to there and then you explode up. Okay, now there is such a thing called a box squat, which you put a seat or a chair or a bench there and squat down on it, pause on it for a second and then explode up. If you wanted to try that, that gives you an idea where parallel is. Because you don't want to be looking down, you'll throw yourself off balance. As I say, when you're looking forward, you go just slightly up with your eyes and you keep that all the way down. So when you go down, your spine then is always in line. So from there, you're looking slightly up and you keep that focus on whatever it is you're looking at, down to there, explode up. Never ever lock out at the top. If ever you lock out a joint with weight on it, the weight goes on the joint and not the muscle. So your legs or your knees should be just slightly unlocked, only a fraction unlocked, so that the actual weight, the weight bearing stays on the muscle and not the joint. So that's my protocol for the squat. As I say, I've trained for 29 years. I've squatted for probably most of that, over 25 years. Never had an injury, always stood me in good stead, and it has built me a fair bit of size. Recent times I've experimented with diet, as some of you may know, and I've dropped quite a lot of weight. But I've got up to quite a sizable weight squatting in, shall we say, back in the day. Since I've experimented with diet and I've dropped about 35 pounds, I can still do 315 squats for 5, 6, 7 reps. That's 320 kilos a side plus the bar. In American terms, they normally say 315 pounds. We say 3 plates a side, which is 320s, 320 kilos, and the bar's 20 kilos. So that's 720 kilos, 315 pounds. That's my biggest weight these days. The biggest ever has been 420s a side plus the bar, which is about 405 for 3 or 4 reps. So you can, without taking performance enhancing drugs, if that's not the route you want to go to, you can still squat decent weight, you can build decent size, you can build a great physique. I would never condemn performance enhancing drugs, but I wouldn't condone them either. I think it's a personal view. If you choose to go down that route, please do it responsibly. There's a steroid Bible you can buy that will teach you what to take and what dosages, and read that before you do anything. That's just a proviso, because once you get to a certain strength or size or weight in squat or whatever exercise, it's almost like you get a high from it and you want more, and when you're stuck in a plateau, that's when you'll start thinking, well, how can I get better, how can I get stronger, how can I get bigger? And the thought of performance enhancing drugs may well come into your head. Please be responsible. It's not the way to go if you're not sure what you're doing. And for me personally, I would only ever consider it if I wanted to compete. I wouldn't consider it for any other reason, and I've never ever had any desire to compete. But in saying that, I love the sport of bodybuilding and fitness. I love the training, I love the dieting, I like to see how my body can change, but competing is a different route. So that's the barbell squat. That's the basic of it. That should be the core of your leg training routine. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to show you what's called landmine squats. Now, landmine squats, you can buy an attachment, which I've got here and I'll show you shortly, or you could put the end of your bar in the corner of a wall with a towel there so you don't damage the wall, and you can do it that way. So I'll show you that next. So this is the landmine attachment that bolts to the floor. So you've always got to keep it in one spot, obviously. And the bar slips into the end of it and then tightens with a screw fix. Now you can use an Olympic bar or you can use a 1-inch standard bar. It's got both on this. So this goes up, and I always have part of my squat rack there to rest it on, because once you get up to a sizable weight, you can't really lift it off the floor to squat it. By the time you've lifted it off the floor, you're exhausted. So initially, when you're using lighter weights, you can take it from the floor, lift it up to your shoulder, and then squat it from there, which I'm going to show you next. Now, you can also, as I said earlier, put in the corner of a wall, put a towel in the corner on the floor and push the bar into it so that this gives it stability, but you don't damage the wall. So this is going to be, I'll show you a landmine hack squat and a landmine front squat. And you can, believe me, I've got up on one of these to 100 kilos plus the bar. So you can get some sizable weight with it. So I'm just going to move on now and show you how to do this from this position. As I say, I use this position because it's easier to get your shoulder under it and then lift it off the rack and squat, rather than lift it off the floor, get it up to your shoulder. That's okay with lighter weights, but this is a better option. Okay, so we've got the landmine in position. I've put a 20 kilo plate on, just to give you an example. I'm going to show you how I get under it, how I take it off the rack, and then I'll show you the start position and then the position at the bottom. Now this is the landmine hack squat. So if you've ever done a hack squat machine in a gym where you're sort of lying almost at a 45-degree angle, then this is an alternative if you haven't got access to that machine. Now I'm doing these in my own training facility because I haven't got a hack squat machine, so I've had to improvise. But if you go into a gym, very often there's only one hack squat, so you probably couldn't get on it. You may want to use this as an option. So first of all, stand there with your shoulder next to it, the one plate on there. When you put your shoulder under, you're going to lean back onto the plate slightly. Okay, so you're all in position there. And you're going to lift it off the rack, take half a step to the side. Then you can put your feet out forward so you're in a 45-degree stance. And from there, you don't need to hold this. This is just to sort of put your hands somewhere basically. And then you're going down in a squat position and up. Okay, now if I show you that from the bottom position, so as we're coming down to there, 45-degree and up, and then back into position. That's how the landmine hack squat would look. Next I'm going to show you the landmine front squat. So now I'm going to show you the landmine front squat. Now obviously it's the opposite to the hack squat, so I'm going to be turning my back on you while I do this, and then I'm going to show you the upper portion, and then I'm going to stop and show you the lower portion so you can see where we're going with this. Again, if there's no landmine attachment in your gym, you can actually put the bar into the corner of a wall and put a towel there so you don't damage the dado rail or the wall itself. Something you can do at home, these attachments have a 1-inch bar fitment and an Olympic bar fitment, so you can do it whichever way you like. So first of all, this is the landmine setup. Always have the part of my squat rack there to help support, because lifting it from the floor is going to be very taxing once you get a sizable weight on, as I said before. So I'm going to put my shoulder into that, I'm going to lift it, take a step to the side, put myself at roughly 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to squat down. So from there we get underneath and we lift off, take a step to the side, and from there get yourself at a 45-degree angle, and from there we're going down and explode up, down 45 and explode. Always control down 45-degree, explode. And that's the front squat, front landmine squat. So now I'm going to show you the bottom portion of that so you can see where I go to at the bottom. As I said before, I think it's easier to show you two portions of this than try and show you the whole one. If you look at the whole squat as one movement, you're maybe not getting where you should be at the top and where you should be at the bottom. I would personally find it easier to see it in two stages, but you can let me know your thoughts on that. So now I'm going to show you the bottom portion of that. It'll only take a few seconds, but I want you to see the two halves of the movement, and then you can put them together yourself as one. But so that you know where you need to be at the top and how you balance and how you structure it, and then where you need to be at the bottom. So again, I'll turn my back on you while I do this, so just bear with me. So from there, we're going to lift off the rack. We're going to take a step to the side, and then we're going to get a body about 45 degrees to the floor, and then we're going to squat down, lowering under control and explode. So we're lowering and through the heels, explode, and lower, and once you explode through the heels you'll feel it in your quads, and that's where you need to be focusing. You need to get it into your quads. That's the idea of the movement. So that's the landmine squats that I do. As I said before, with having a home training facility, I've got a lot of equipment that I can adapt things, but I haven't got room to put a leg press or a hack squat machine that only do one thing, so I improvise. I can do vertical leg presses on the Smith machine that I've got, so there's different ways I can adapt. Maybe at some point in the future I'll give you an insight into how I adapt. But these are the core exercises. The machine you may not have in the gym, that's something extra, but your landmine you can do, your basic squats you can do. I'm also going to do another video shortly to complete the leg workout on hamstrings and calves, what you should be doing for the core of those. That'll follow on from this one. So thank you for that, and now it's just moving to the next machine. So as we demonstrate the squat machine, I'm going to do as I've done with the other squat. I'm going to show you when you first lift the bar and go down, then I'm going to show you the bottom position. So this is when you first get under. It's got a 45-degree platform, which we put the feet on there. It's a comfortable position. Go back onto the shoulder pads and up onto the top shoulder pads. Lift the bar, unlock. We've got a safety bar there. So what we do then is we squat down to there and then explode back up like any squat. Squat, parallel, and then up, explode up. Now it's difficult to get parallel or to understand parallel on this one because it's a 45-degree plate, which I'll show you in a minute. So when you're going down, you're probably looking like you're slightly below parallel because of the slope of the platform. But a comfortable way down, you'll know when you're there. If you've squatted with a normal bar and you use this, you'll know when you're at parallel. That's how the top bit works. As I say, start off light. If you've got access to one of these in a gym, try it. It's a real good alternative to normal squatting. I try and do these every second or third week as a variation. But there's other things you can do on this, which I'll show you another time. But for now, that's the top part. Now I'm going to move on and show you where you are at the bottom part. So now I'm going to show you what we're like when we reach the bottom. So we get under the bar again, and feet comfortably shoulder width apart, get into the shoulder pads snug, lift and unlock, and when you go down, you're going down to there. That to me is comfortable but enough. And then you explode up. So you lower down, in control, explode. Lower down, in control, explode. And again, always pushing through your heels. So that's the top and bottom. And then next we'll move on to a leg extension. So now we're at the leg extension station. Now this is the last one I want to show you, and these few exercises should form the basis of your quad training, shall we say. I'll show you hamstring and calf training in separate videos, but this should cover quad training. So from here, on some of these you'll have a seat with a backrest. Obviously mine's a home training facility where there's no backrest because this doubles up as a hamstring curl. So you put your weight on there. I've just put a 20 kilo on to show you. Get a good grip there so you stabilise your upper body. Keep everything tight as always. Keep your shoulders tight, your chest tight and your abs tight. And then from there you're lifting, pause at the top, lower. So you can explode up, pause, lower down. Explode up, pause, lower down. Explode up, pause and lower down. you will always get as much, if not more, development from what they call the eccentric, which is the lowering part, than you will from the explosion up. So don't just swing it up and use momentum. Try and control the weight. On any exercise you do, control both ways. Especially with this one, it's quite easy to use momentum to get the weight up to there, but it's not so easy to control it down. So you'll get a lot of benefit from that control down. Same with the squat. When you initially take the bar off and you squat down under control, you gain as much development off that as you are exploding up out of what they call the hole at the bottom. And the same with the machine, and the same with the landmine. Control. Always, if you were bench pressing, you would control the weight down, then explode up. Everything, as I said before with exercise, is stretch and squeeze. Think of the muscle you're working there. So to stretch it, it's in that position. Now that's stretching that muscle. When you want to squeeze it, you're bringing it up and you'll feel it squeeze. So lowering it is stretching it. Now you don't want to come down so that touches like that. You want to be just short of that. So when you come up, you lower it down just short of touching at the bottom. Because once you touch that, that takes the stress off completely. So you don't want to take the stress off until you finish the set. So from there, it's up, slowly lower. Up, slowly lower. So that's your leg extension. You can use these as a finisher at the end of your session, or as a warm-up in the middle, at the beginning, or you can use them in the middle as supersets with other exercises, which again is an advanced technique for another time. But these are great for warming up before you squat, and they're great for finishing your legs off at the end when they're really exhausted through squatting. So use them, to get the main benefits from them. So that's quad training in a nutshell. I hope this helps. As I've said before, this isn't aimed at advanced people who've got their own techniques, who've learnt over the years. This is for people who are just getting into it. I want them to do it right. If I can go 25 years plus without getting injured, so can you. Just be mindful of what you're doing. Think of the safest way you're doing it. Tuck your lower back in when you're deadlifting or when you're squatting, and always keep your body tight. Keep the weight under control. You control the weight, don't let the weight control you. Always stretch and squeeze, and you'll get the maximum from them, and you'll stay injury free. So that's the end of that one, and the next video I do on leg training will be for your hamstrings, and then we may cover calves in the same one. So that's it for now. Thank you.